Hi, good day. I'm Mr. Jun-jun and in today's video, we will be expounding topics on trends and issues in educational management. Stay tuned! Number 1 is the quality of education. It is uncommon to hear college teachers decry the quality of students that come to them. They lament the students' inability to construct a correct sentence, much less a paragraph. Private schools have been assailed as profit-making institutions, turning out half-baked graduates who later become part of the nation's educated unemployed. All these are indications of the poor quality of education. There are multiple factors which have led to low educational standards. Studies and fact-finding commissions have shown that the deteriorating quality of education is due to the low government budget for education, poor quality of teachers, poor management of schools, poor school facilities such as laboratory and library facilities, poor learning environment, the content of the curriculum, inadequate books and science equipment, the poor method of instruction, shortages of classrooms, and others. Number 2 is budget for education. Education is a second priority is a top problem in the educational system. Even though the 1987 Philippine Constitution Article 14, Section 5 states that the state shall assign the highest budgetary priority to education and ensure that the teaching will attract and retain its rightful share of best available talents through adequate remuneration and other means of job satisfaction and fulfillment. But in reality, most of the budget of the government goes to the payment of debt. Number 3 is affordability of education. A rather sweeping indictment is that the Philippine educational system has been and still is basically American in orientation and objectives. Even now, despite years of independence, our educational system has not succeeded in eliminating the chronic colonial mentality which abounds like a mental blight within or without the academe. At present, quality education is financial capacity based, making higher education more of privilege rather than a right. Though basic education is provided free, essential needs such as food, shelter, clothing, plus transportation and other incremental expenses in schools made it unaffordable for many. Number 4 is dropout rate. Dropout is a serious problem because negative outcomes from dropouts generate huge social costs. Dropout can be defined as not enrolling in school even after reaching the compulsory school age. The Philippine Institute for Development Studies shows that about half of school dropouts in the Philippines belong to the lowest 25 percentile in income. These families comprise only a fourth of the Philippine society, yet their children make up half of school leavers. Poor children comprising the majority of out-of-school children, however, more than highlights the dramatic impact of poverty on basic education. The sad plight of poor children also marks the great inequity in Philippine schools. Number 5 is mismatch. The major problem of the tertiary level is the large proportion of the so-called mismatch between training and actual jobs, as well as the existence of a large group of educated, unemployed, or underemployed. The literature points out that this could be the result of a rational response to a dual labor market where one sector is import substituting and highly protected with low wages. Graduates may choose to wait it out until a job opportunity in the high-paying sector comes. To address this problem, it is suggested that leaders in business and industry should be actively involved in higher education. Furthermore, a selective admission policy should be carried out. That is, mechanisms should be installed to reduce enrollment in oversubscribed programs and promote enrollment in undersubscribed ones. Number 6 is brain drain. It is a persistent problem evident in the educational system of the Philippines due to the modern phenomenon of globalization. In terms of labor force, the Philippines is faced with brain drain issue, which is depriving the labor pool of much of its greatest talent. This has been a problem for a while now, with the country having lost an estimated 10% of its population to work abroad, including many highly qualified professionals. This ongoing mass immigration subsequently inducts an unparalleled brain drain alongside grave economic implications. Additionally, Philippine society hitherto is footing the bill for the education of millions who successively spend their more productive years abroad. Thus, the already poor educational system of the Philippines indirectly subsidizes the opulent economies who host the OFWs. 7 is social divide. Social divide affects education because the people who are in lower social statuses are not able to afford a premier education, the necessary tools to complement the public education or continuing education. People who are in lower socioeconomic standing also have a harder time staying in school than people who live in a higher social status. While education is provided to people who come from all economic backgrounds and from all financial situations, not everyone is able to use the education system to the best of their abilities. Children who live in poor situations may be expected to do more at home, taking up a job to help support their families, and may not be able to focus solely on their studies. Additionally, areas that have a higher income bracket also often have a better schooling system. This could be a result of donations from local families and from a better economic structure in the area. Although there are many continuing education scholarships and grants, people who are in a lower socioeconomic status may not be able to take advantage of this. They may not know about them or may have more responsibilities to their family that do not allow them to take the educational opportunities. The last topic is all about lack of facilities and teacher shortage in public schools. Since 1960, elementary enrollment has been expanding at the rapid rate of 4% a year, owing to increase in the number of children in the enrollment ratio. The shortages of classroom and textbooks are particularly severe. The nationwide classroom shortage is estimated to be 40,000, and the DepEd operates 2 shifts in many schools. The textbook problem is even more serious. A survey done in preparation for a World Bank education loan found that the pupil textbook ratio in the public elementary school is 10:1, and 79% of the textbooks are more than 5 years old. This situation has persisted for many years. Other teaching tools such as science materials, teaching devices, and audiovisual aids are also in short supply. Perennial graft and corruption in the acquisition of books and in the construction of school buildings has often been reported. This situation handicaps the teaching staff in their work. This has been your reporter for today, Mr. Jun-jun L. Tulin. Thank you for your time.